Bring in Gary Stevenson, who used to be a city trader, now works as an equality campaigner. Gary, good to have you with us this evening. Let's begin then briefly with your thoughts in a nutshell, really, as to what was said with regards to housing and whether or not actually you feel this could do perhaps more harm than good.
Yeah, so the Chancellor's come in just as he did last year with bearing gifts for home buyers and home owners. The stamp duty holiday has been extended. Also, I think what could be more important is he's trying to push these 95% mortgages by the government guaranteeing some losses from banks. Now, a lot of people will be pleased to see this, especially homeowners. My big concern is that just as we saw last year in the middle of a massive crisis and recession, house prices shot up to record highs, this could really be pouring more flames on the fire of the house price crisis. For some people, if you're, for example, from a family like Rishi Sunaks, his dad's a billionaire, you can ask your dad for a 5% deposit, but for a lot of ordinary people who don't have that money sitting to hand, they're going to have to sit on the sidelines and possibly watch house prices rise much faster than their savings do here. So really, this is going to split the house from the have-not. Do you have the money for the deposit now, or do you have to sit by and watch those prices go up?
If the government had said, right, we're going to scrap stamp duty and we're going to make it harder for you to get a mortgage, we're going to keep it at 10, 20% deposits, what would you have said to that?
To be honest, I would have said if the government wants to fix house price crisis, it should stop trying to push house prices up and start looking at wages. Because really, the problem here is people are not earning enough money to buy these houses. Wages have done nothing. What have the wages done in the last 15 years? In that time, London house prices have more than doubled. Really, I think the government is looking in the wrong place here because it's wages for ordinary working families that are the problem. And deeper than that, I think there's a problem with inequality here. Because as we've seen the richest get richer and richer, they've been using that money to push house prices up, but not driving the economy, which is where working people's wages come from. So I think the government should look beyond these simple measures towards the problems with inequality in our society.
Let's just touch on some of the measures when it comes to universal credit. There was a confirmation today that the £20 uplift, £20 a week uplift, will continue for some time. However, it was not made permanent, as some people have called for. Your thoughts on that? Is that kind of good news in the interim, but actually we're still not really solving the problem here of being able to improve people's quality of life?
Yes, there's no doubt it's good news in the interim because obviously there are a number of people, especially the millions of people who've received no support during this crisis because they've fallen through the gaps of the government support schemes. For them, I mean, £20 a week might not seem like a lot to some people, but for a lot of people it's been a lifeline. So, of course, it's absolutely essential that the government has extended it. But I think, especially when you look at what's happened in the last year, the stock markets and the wealthiest people have been making huge amounts of money. Really, a humane society should be looking at supporting also the people who suffered in this crisis because there's a lot of people who are paying for this and that needs to be dealt with.
And just on renters as well, a suggestion really that actually things like the temporary ban on evictions, again, good news, but actually, did you see anything in today's budget which gave you hope that actually life would become easier for those perhaps renting privately?
I mean, this is my concern, the government has been forced to do a lot of support for people that it wouldn't normally support. It hasn't really been on the side of private renters that much since it's been in power. It's been forced to provide more support, and it's good that it's done that. But my concern is they're only really doing as much as they have been forced to do. And when we come out of this, just as we've seen, they've been using policies which are going to push house prices up, which are going to help the richest in our society. When we come out of this, they're giving every sign that they're going to go back to supporting the people who fund the Conservative Party and people like Rishi Sunaks' family who are very, very wealthy.
OK, Gary, thank you. Gary Stevenson there, former city trader, now working as an inequality campaigner, sharing his thoughts, his reaction then to some parts of the budget.